I think it's written somewhere in the Game Master Codex that I can only give you a pet if it complicates your lives. Personal and
Then why were you so against the basilisk?
because I know how you guys roll, and that would have been the point at which I was like, "Here's the big bad guy," and you were like, "Stoned."
He's met us, and he remembers that.
Or that would have been the time where you were like, "Here's the big bad guy," and you pull out the basilisk, and I'm like, "Well, it horribly backfires, and now you're all stoned."
And then we'd roll sucky rolls and wouldn't be able to save our way out of ourselves.
Yeah, I mean that's going to happen anyway.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Average Adventuring Party podcast, where, let's see, what did I do last time? The adventurers or the players may be average. No, might be giving you guys too much credit. Where the party is average, but their adventures are not.
That's because the adventures are extremely wonderful and fun. Not average.
I mean,
That was a very, combative compliment.
one of those things is true, and I feel that it's extreme.
It was extremely, not extreme.
It's like, I'm going to come over there. I'm going to fucking kick your ass with this compliment, and you're going to take it and like it. Thank you.
I'll take How to Get Along in the Corporate World for 500, Alex.
Yes.
So anyway, what happened last time, you guys? I hear some shit went down.
We murdered an old woman.
We did? We did?
Well, I mean, she was a hag.
Oh yeah, the hag.
Yeah,
And now you're just insulting her after we murdered her. I
I
mean,
mean-
it's a good thing she's dead and can't hear it.
To be fair, Iocus was very diplomatic and friendly with her from the get-go.
We are about to go kill her sisters.
I mean, Iocus threw the first punch when she was trying to talk to you.
I tried to kick her in the nuts, if you recall correctly.
The
I didn't
cloaca.
even I didn't even care if there were any. She wasn't cooperating.
Did she knock down half your health?
Yeah. To be fair, I also knocked down half of her health.
So yeah, you guys killed a hag who was masquerading as a draconic
Not Dragonborn.
critter
Scapegoat.
Who was raising the dead?
who was raising the dead very effectively.
Yes.
But whenever you killed her, she may and or may not have placed a death curse on you, telling you your death was going to be long and drawn out, horrendous.
I mean, it's expected for Iocus. He's not going to have a happy ending.
Not with the way he's treating Calaise.
Yeah, you're gonna do some work there, honey.
Yeah, so you, when that happened, the ward came down. Calaise was able to commune with the spirits and tell you exactly where the source of your weather phenomenon were coming from, which is way out west in the jungle.
The mighty jungle.
Something sleeps tonight.
Something's gonna. 6 feet under, probably.
Hopefully me, so I can get some health back.
Let's see, Iocus, Calaise had told you, if you recall, that no matter what you did, Nameless was going to need both a name and a tiger pelt if he wanted to be taken seriously in any way.
You think a dire tiger will just, give us its pelt if we ask nicely enough?
I mean, that's the wonderful thing about dire tigers.
Well, get close enough and ask, and I'll let you know how that turns out.
How about we let Philomena get close enough to ask so she can become incorporeal if she needs to.
That doesn't always protect her.
And if she doesn't, she makes a fantastic shoe toy.
I mean,
So yeah, as you guys were leaving that centaur village, Nameless stepped through another tree and disappeared.
and we all followed, didn't we?
Yeah.
So that's where we're going to pick up, is you stepping through that tree and reappearing out of another tree. We'll say probably a couple of miles away. You are probably about half a mile away from that gigantic stone wall that has been blasted open. It's got all kinds of vines just covering it now. And when you all step through, Nameless says, "That's weird. There's trees in there, but I can't get to them. It's kind of like they're keeping me out." This is the closest one I could find.
Guess we go the rest of the way on foot.
Wait a minute, Nameless. Does that mean you're doing the tree thing instead of your grandfather?
More or less.
How can you do that?
He showed me how to do it. It was one of his favorite tricks for getting around.
And you, apparently have the same power.
It's really easy once you figure it out.
Interesting.
And he steps, just back steps into that tree and then reappears at another tree maybe 30 or 40 feet away. So see? Anybody can do it.
I'm gonna step into a tree.
Philomena finds herself inside a tree.
I'm gonna step back out. Am I in the same spot?
You are in the same spot.
It is not anybody that can do it.
Yeah, but you didn't really try. You just sort of took a step back.
And what? You're supposed to think about something?
You're supposed to ask the tree and talk to it and the tree where you're going to reappear.
I believe the asking the tree part is the part that people have difficulties with.
Well, you just have to know how to do it. I can't really explain it other than that.
How do you breathe?
Does
Do
it not?
you actually want to read my dissertation on the breathing methods of dragons?
Trust me, it's gonna be long.
No.
So you're not at all interested in the fact that your son shows more power? So,
Well, I told you where it came from.
Mm-hmm.
Grandfather showed me how.
We were there.
You were there.
I suspect this is something that you inherited via bloodline.
He looks over at Calaise, and Calaise shrugs. Says, I mean, my father was a chief, but really, he was just known for kind of keeping the peace more than anything.
It's not unheard of for certain types of less mundane abilities to be inherited via genetics.
Sure, we do that with livestock all the time, but I don't know. As far as I know, I'm the first spirit talker in generations, and he hasn't shown any of that ability, so I have no idea. And Calaise pats Nameless on the head and says, he'll figure it out. I have faith in him.
okay.
Well, we should be moving on somewhat of a timeline. And
We can just let the world end.
we could, yes.
It won't really hurt me. I'm already dead.
Except you'll dissolve and be more of a vapor.
Calaise says,
Fine.
I'm in favor of the whole not ending thing.
No?
Yeah, me too.
Why? So you can kick his ass more?
I don't have to. He's doing it for me. You can just look at him and see it in his face, the guilt he bears.
And they took his jacket.
I was going to say, it seems to me that he's a little bit more upset about the jacket than you.
That's just the front he's putting on. I know secretly, and she starts walking away. He's waiting for the other hoof to fall.
That time has passed.
Has it, though? And she just walks away. I haven't made up my mind on if I'm going to kill you or not.
Once you've grappled with death, it'll come when it comes. Let's move.
So apparently he was traveling with 2 elves and some sort of fox. I think you described it as a murder fox.
Potato.
Yes, murdered potato. Yes.
Not a descriptor I've ever heard of, but
Well, she is small and round and very pointy, so potato.
As Iocus walks away, he looks. Nameless looks up and goes, "Yeah, Father, let's move it." He walks away too.
I'm supposed to be the one with the dad jokes. You're improving. Good job.
Nameless and Calaise just head off towards the wall.
Neville is following shortly after.
Thea will follow too.
Iocus was walking with him.
Philomena, are you standing alone watching?
For a second, yes. And then, yes, I will eventually start following.
After a couple of minutes walk, you find yourselves up against this wall. It's... I don't know about that.
Depends on what's holding you against the wall.
Wrong mini campaign, dear.
That's the wrong RP right now.
So this wall...
Tell me about the wall.
Describe it. Describe it harder.
It's long
Yes.
and hard.
Yes.
Has a hole in it where stuff comes out.
You're losing me.
No, it's easily 100 feet tall, and if this hole is on one side of it, if you look one way, it goes maybe another mile or so, and you look the other way, and it stretches 4 miles. It's appears to be made up of white marble, and has a lot of what probably all of you at this point recognize as Asonian carvings. This is built by humans.
Are there any that are close to floor level or ground level?
Yeah, and mostly it's... Think of like folktale and heroic pictographs, very stylized people on horses in armor with lances running down monsters and things like that. It's decorative more than anything.
In order to kind of spite his devil, who is the devil of destroying knowledge, Neville is going to take some blank pages from his journal and just do like
Thea will help you.
rubbings of them.
So if your page is about the size of an average journal page, you might be able to get like a foot.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, you might want to sketch these.
yeah, these figures are taller than Iocus.
I would just try to get like maybe just a face or something like that, and which might mean that I need someone to boost me. But it would just be a real quick thing he does. He's going to sketch the rest as he travels.
You can
He's
put
going
him
to
on-
look. He's going to look up at Iocus and says,
We're all going to stare at Iocus.
can you hold me up about right there?
Yeah, I'm gonna grab him by the scruff of his neck and just lift him.
Thank you.
and he just starts furiously rubbing on this paper to get a good impression of the faces.
Asonian art is very interesting. They are very detailed, but not in the ways that you would expect of elven artists.
So when you touch the wall, you get the faint buzz of magic, like something should be happening, but whatever it is can't complete. Those of you who are kind of step back watching this whole fiasco go on, the wall just for a second glows a very faint yellow up and down the whole length of it. And right when it looks like it would start getting brighter, it just shuts off completely.
Let's see.
I would say Neville is probably too close to have seen that, and so is Iocus. But you did feel that little tingle.
Any way I could see if I recognize that tingle? Or have any idea what it should have done?
I mean, you can see on the wall, it's a lot of artwork of monsters being killed. That was probably going to be some sort of violent outburst of energy.
So, do you think I can ascertain why it would have failed? Perhaps
Yes.
with a magical item.
Giant fucking hole in it.
That's probably your best guess.
Probably.
Is it's an arcane
Well,
circuit.
what I was thinking was maybe it's attuned to, like, centaurs or other monsters.
It looks like an arcane circuit of some kind, and the circuit is interrupted with this hole that's been blasted into it. Iocus, you're probably close enough. You would have felt that as well.
Any pieces of the wall?
Oh yeah, there's plenty of rubble.
Alright. As soon as he gets down, Neville's going to take a piece and just put it in his bag.
Yep.
Even though this isn't his specialty, it's knowledge. He can spite his devil.
Yeah, when you pick it up, so think of a chunk of carved marble, and as soon as you touch it, it glows for a second and then just crumbles into sand.
So then I'll scoop one up using my robe and just kind of,
Same thing.
even if
Even if you're not touching it.
You know, for trying to spite your devil, you seem to be serving it.
This is just material, not knowledge.
and he's going to make some notes in his journal about the nature of the material.
Whatever, it kind of has the appearance of sand, sort of wet sand. It still holds some arcane charge.
So I'll have some of this strange magic sand.
Calaise looks over and says, so are we camping or?
Oh, no, we'll keep going.
Well,
We still have daylight left.
she walks up to the entrance in this wall and says, I am very hesitant. You don't know how many of our the stories we tell children to get them to behave involve whatever is here in the jungle.
Neville will look over at Nameless and say,
Are you feeling any sort of omens?
That's just it. I really don't feel anything. It all feels like nothing. Like, and he points at a tree and says, I can see that tree, and if I get close enough to it, I can talk to that tree. And then he points back at the opening in the wall and says, I don't feel anything there. I tried to talk to the trees in there, and they're not speaking back.
Well, we can camp here if that's what y'all desire. I mean, say that if you want to camp here.
Oh, no.
But
I mean, I'll go through the doorway first
Sure.
and see what I can see and then come back.
I won't
Does
stop
that
you.
make you feel better?
I'd rather we go together, because if something bad were to happen, then...
But I'm a vapor to you guys.
Yeah, but it also lessens the overall strength and likelihood of our success. So I would rather you not throw your life away, or your unlife, or however you call that.
So who chose you to be leader?
Nobody, but we have
You
something
didn't
to
used
do.
to be our leader. Why did you come along and become our leader?
Why
I
do you
don't know.
care?
Nameless says, would it make it any better if I told you what to do?
Yes, it would.
Okay, well then we're going through that. And he points at the hole
Well, I
in the
already
wall.
said I was going through it.
Well, then let's do it.
But why does he have
Neville's
to tell me
already
to do it?
going through.
Yeah, Iocus too. Like, I'm not going to sit here and argue.
Yep.
She can have a one-sided feud.
So this wall is easily 50 foot thick, and as you're sort of walking on this sandy material, let's see, Thea probably has the longest hair out of all of you. As you're walking, the walls are kind of glowing, and Thea's hair just starts standing up to the point where she looks like she has a halo of hair around her.
Well, that's fun.
Iocus's mane is probably doing the same.
Probably has a cow lick.
Does Neville have long hair?
No, he has kind of shaggy hair, but he keeps it under his big old pointy hat.
Yep. Calaise also has long hair, but it's pulled back in a braid, and you can see the little split ends and broken pieces sticking up out of her braid. And
So, I would like to try to take a finger, my pinky, and lightly touch the wall.
and you touch the wall, and you feel something. So to you, everything kind of feels like nothing,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you can pick things up, but it just feels like an object you're holding.
Mm-hmm.
You can feel the texture, but you don't really get warmth or smell and all that. This, you get a very coppery metallic taste in your mouth, and then the glow stops.
If I make, can I make just my pinky corporeal and see if it goes through?
If you would like to make your pinky incorporeal,
I knew what I meant.
We mean what you know.
you try, and it does not.
Does not. Interesting.
Are we still having static hair?
Well, yes, until you get to the other side.
Okay, I'm gonna reach out towards Neville's ear, just to see if we get that little static spark.
Yep. Neville, you have been attacked with with a small amount of static electricity.
Roll for damage.
It's 1d1.
It's actually a one-sided die, and if you roll it wrong, it disappears. So, yeah, you shock him, and your hair does not go back down.
So,
Sorry, I just wanted to make sure that
has anybody else? I mean, I would really like to taste things again. It would be very nice. Does anybody else kind of taste the like metal-y-ish, copper-ish type?
Did Neville taste that?
No.
No, but he'll turn around as he's walking, and he still has his journal out. It's like,
Describe the taste in thorough detail.
I feel like I'm sucking on my sword.
Neville's eyebrows. You can't really see his eyebrows, but you can tell that they're raising.
Neville, go ahead and make me a save.
What type of save?
Just a straight save.
That's a 16 on the die.
16 on the die. All right. So, before the game started, I had each of the players put a d20 out in front of them and set it to the number 3. Neville, yours goes up to 4. And what happens is Neville is kind of walking backwards, and Thea says something about sucking on a sword, or not Thea, Philomena says something about sucking on a sword, and there's just a moment where you almost trip, and you realize that the vines you're walking on are getting thicker, and also some of them appear to be moving. And one of them just kind of like hits your foot and slowly starts to curl around it, and that's what tripped you up. But you're able to pull your foot out.
Neville starts watching the vines and sketching them and trying to figure out. He's completely moved on from the wall now.
Mm-hmm. So on this side of the wall, the jungle side, the trees rise very high up. Some of them even tower over the wall itself. Most of them don't, but a couple do. But all around the wall is just hung with vines. You can't even see some of the murals. And as you watch, they're slowly creeping into that gap. A couple of them had already gotten through, but it looks like on this side, it's going to cover the entirety of that passage fairly soon.
Does it seem like the vines are being controlled by something, or that they actually have some sort of autonomy? Or
If you just sit and watch for a moment, it's hard to tell, but they are very slowly kind of feeling around until they find a way into that gap, and then it like clings to a wall and starts creeping down that hole.
does it seem like they're trying to fill the hole, or just trying to get through it?
So the ones you saw on the Centaur Plain side were just spreading. Like, one had extended out hundreds of feet from the hole and was just going straight.
Neville is going to point to one of the vines and says,
Philomena, would you be so kind as to hack that off for me?
and he's going to point to probably like the smallest one that he can find.
I'm not going to hack, but I will try to slowly cut one. I don't want to hack and it like throw me back or poison me or something if I just try a little bit of a cut first to see
I
if
would
it
recommend
works.
doing one quick, thorough slice.
Okay. I'm going to try to cut it.
Yeah. You grab it and it starts to wrap around you, like your hand, and you just take your blade and slice it off. And
Not my hand.
yes, you slice your hand off. The side that you cut and kept goes still. The side that is still attached to whatever it's attached to kind of flops to the ground and then starts moving away from you.
Okay. So that worked, but I do believe there are too many vines for me to cut. They're all going to try to fill this hole, and we will not be able to go back.
That depends on if these are flammable or not.
I was just going to say something like that.
Of course, we don't want to start a
I was
massive
about to
jungle fire.
Say, we are in a jungle.
Out of character. I want y'all to note. I have been sitting here silently and have not been part of the planning of burning the jungle down. There has been no jet fuel. Just want that noted. Today's date.
Yes, noted that Iocus was silently contemplating burning the forest down.
We just said the quiet part out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Nameless is looking around while you're doing this and just touching various bits of foliage. And he says, I can't. And he just puts his hand up against something and presses. I can't get through.
How about this one that's dead? Can you feel anything?
Takes it from you. And, I mean, it feels, and he just, like hits it against his hand, like bends it. It behaves like a cut vine. Nothing. It's not alive.
So, as we've said before, Iocus fled from the Hycosian desert through the jungles into the Centaur Plains. In that time, I'd like to make a roll to see if I might know the habitat and patterns that a dire tiger might have in this land.
Iocus came up through the mountains, not this part of the, like he never went through the jungles here.
Oh, I thought it was whenever we talked. It was through here.
There are no jungles in the Centaur Plains. There is a wall here and a wall on the other side.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So
yeah,
like
we're
right
more
there.
to the
All right.
west.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I thought the wall came.
No.
So, as I am human, or was human,
Well, hold that thought. Let me finish answering the question first. Secondarily, the dire tigers are more in the mountains.
Okay.
As far as you know, no one on the Centaur Plains has ever gone into the jungles.
Okay. All right.
yeah, I think we're going after the hags.
Yeah.
So, being formerly human, and a centaur hunter, and a scout,
Mm-hmm.
would I have traveled through the jungle to
No.
hunt centaurs?
No.
To get to the wall to hunt?
No.
No. Oh.
So think about the time of heroes for the Ausonian Empire, which was thousands upon thousands of years ago, when the humans drove out all the monsters from their island. So all the Gorgons and Minotaurs and Centaurs and anything even vaguely not human. They made... it was a very large campaign to put up these walls. One to the northwest and one to the southeast. And occasionally they send people to check on them to make sure they're still in place, but they don't. The humans have not been here for a very long time. Like even in your lifetime, it had been thousands of years since people were here.
Can I quickly go back through the wall, and do I notice the vines coming back out on that side?
Yes.
Okay.
So if Philomena runs back through into the Centaur Plains, steps back, and looks at the wall, the vines have definitely started coming out and wrapping around.
Okay. So maybe they're just coming through.
They're
Yep.
infecting the plains.
Yep.
Nameless looks at it and says, well, surely that won't have any repercussions at any point.
So before I head back to the jungle side, I'm going to touch the centaur side.
Same thing.
Okay, and then I'm going to go back to the jungle side and touch.
Same thing.
Same thing? Okay.
While this scientific discovery is fantastic,
Yeah, Calaise looks up when you said that, and she's, totally got a handful of different foliages. Is like, what?
that hag called out to her sisters, and we are giving them time to prepare, hunt, whatever might be happening. I suggest we try to locate them.
You don't think they were preparing when we first started the fight?
Oh no, I would have expected that they would have thought everything was well in hand and there'd be no way that we could have killed one of their sisters. Because they've assaulted the Centaur
You were
Plains.
very confident in yourself.
From in the jungle somewhere, you hear, you don't have to come looking for me. I know precisely where you are. And it echoes, 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 echoes.
Okay, everybody else is hearing voices, right?
Well, that wasn't creepy or anything.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah.
Look, just because they're our enemy doesn't mean we have to be mean.
That was creepy, though.
Just because you're my friends doesn't... Oh, wait.
I don't have to be cruel. I'm just choosing to be.
In that case, you can be as mean as you would like. I have no further objections.
Can we begin to try and locate this? I know sound travels oddly in the forest, but...
Sure.
What would that be?
Perception, wisdom, plus any relevant skill.
I haven't used it in a while. I'm going to use Centaur Packmaster, as whenever I was battling, I probably had to pay attention to sights and sounds. Well, granted, it was in the plains, but...
Sure.
Ooh. That is 27.
Okay. So take your die, that d20 there, and move it up to a 4.
Okay.
I can't wait to see
I
what happens because we've made 2 very good rolls so far, and our die have incremented by 1 each time.
Can only be good things.
Can only be great. I'm sure we're not going to be punished for our hubris or anything like that.
No, never happens.
No, so
what Iocus finds, there are very few open areas of ground. There's a lot of these vines that are covering things. There's a lot of leaves. What he actually finds in a tree trunk are what appear to be stab wounds. So imagine five fingers. If you just took your fingers and put them in the tree and then climbed up and did the same, and then toe marks underneath that. And around each one of those stab wounds is just this kind of black and rotten tree trunk where it looks like these wounds have rotted from the inside out. And they go all the way up one of these trees. And if you kind of follow it to another tree, you see some of those markings where it looks like something has jumped off of this tree onto another one, and then onto another one, and onto another one, leading into the forest.
Nameless.
Yeah.
What do you make of this? How does the tree speak to you?
He touches it away from those those areas. Well, it doesn't. But if I had to guess, and he takes one of his arrows and like, sticks it into and just kind of turns it, pulls it out, and it's just got this viscous gunk. I would imagine some kind of poison. And then he just takes the arrow and tosses it off into the woods.
Can we follow the trail from tree to tree?
Yeah. Iocus has a pretty good idea of what to look for, and it literally looks like, they climb up here, and then on the next tree something jumped and grabbed onto it and kind of like dragged its claws down a little bit, and then jumped to the next tree, and same thing. So you can see these rotten spots.
Okay.
Fairly easily.
I'm going to keep an eye out to see if it looks like there's any trees outside. So, like, if I can follow a pattern where it's like, hey, this one climbed up this tree and jumped here, jumped here, jumped here, to see if there's multiple jumping through the trees, like if it would make...
If it branches at any point?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If it branches or if it seems like there's any coming into this or anything like that.
No, from what you can see, it appears to be one creature of about the same size each time.
All right, then I'll call out, okay, guys, I have a lead. Follow me, and I will be watching the trees and following this path.
I imagine Neville and Thea will be watching a lot closer to ground level.
Yeah. What's the likelihood of there being some books on hags, whether or not it was true or not?
Oh, there's plenty of books on hags.
That would have been in the library.
Probably nothing more than general information. Mostly because there's so many varieties of hags.
Mm-hmm.
So you probably found that out, that there are multiple different types. But mostly you get they're very skilled illusionists and always appear as, like young and vigorous women, but they're under that illusion. They're horribly and terribly old and twisted. They tend to work in covens, and their favorite thing to do is to kidnap children and corrupt them into joining their coven.
How big are your covens usually?
It depends. Some of the older ones can reach double digits, but usually between 3 to 5.
I'm looking at least 2 more here, even if you only found 1.
Yeah, I mean, that would stand to reason.
Okay. I will share with whoever's within the bubble nearby
See, I'm gonna be in the very back,
the generalized info I have.
trying to pay attention to behind us. Also, want to make sure nothing comes up behind us. So that's what I will be paying attention to.
Yeah, so at any given moment, you'll catch something out of the corner of your eye that's moving and turn to look at it, and it'll be a vine.
I'm gonna try to cut vines.
Stop looking at vines while we're trying to get off your phone.
It's okay, she only gets distracted for 6 seconds at a time.
Scroll!
Yeah. So you cut them, and when you cut them, they move out of your way, but otherwise don't react to you, like none attack you or anything like that.
Is it dark in here?
It's dim. It's definitely daytime, but you're getting a lot of diffuse light
Okay.
as opposed to direct light.
Do I see any, like animal, either not really footprints, but trackings or droppings or?
That sounds like a good wisdom check. If you have a relevant background you'd like to apply,
Scout.
there
Yeah.
you go.
Check the poop.
21.
21
Plus your level.
plus your
Oh,
level.
plus my so 25.
So take that fancy D20 you've got in front of you and switch that over to a 4.
This is really the madness die to see.
Yeah, the GM was mad to include non-standard mechanics. So strangely, you actually don't find any of that. And now that you're actively paying attention to your environment, you're not hearing what you would expect to hear in a woodland area. You don't hear birds. You don't hear animal calls. You don't even hear like wind rustling through the trees. You can't, even if you put your face near one of those moving vines, you can't even hear it. Even though it's moving and scraping against things. But definitely no animal tracks or markings or anything like that.
So, guys,
Mhm.
did anybody else happen to notice that Iocus is like the only animal here?
That is not accurate. He is a sentient minotaur.
Oh, yeah, let's-
Even though they...
Calaise says, well, it depends on the situation,
I was gonna
really.
say, let's focus on that. But there's like no birds, no nothing. No
Oh.
poop.
I would expect to hear frogs,
Yeah.
but there's no frogs or insects.
And you notice that you don't hear the vines rubbing up against the tree? Anybody notice the vines moving?
Yes.
Yes?
Okay. Then how come we can't hear it?
That's kind of creepy.
Calaise shrugs her shoulder and Nameless says, it's all new to me.
I mean, it's new to all of us.
I mean, too quiet things tend to be bad.
Yeah. And the no animals kind of bug me.
Thea has Ritual Caster, right?
Yes.
Can you use like a spell to like see if there's any arcane fuckery going on with these vines? Maybe like kind of like a sense magic type thing.
We'll have to stop for a little bit. But yeah, I can do that.
Oh, if we stop for a little bit, can I?
Yeah, you probably need to take some recoveries. Miss, I'm undead and thus cannot receive holy healing.
Then if we're going through, if that's the path we want to take, Iocus is going to try to find a clearing of some sort.
There are none.
Okay.
Like there are small areas where you can all fit relatively. But there's no just open areas.
I recommend if we're going to try to stop, we all join together and try and clear out vines in this little area. I don't want them, if you're going to be casting a spell, I don't want them to randomly wrap you up or anything.
Yeah, that would not be
I
fun.
could cut them off.
And we all can.
We should see how they react to different elements. Fire would be a dangerous choice in an area like this. However, I could try using acid magic and cold magic.
Oh, it's fine. Suna, can you... And you see Iocus's face just kind of fall a little bit. Never mind.
Is that the one of the elves or the potato?
We should focus on the vines.
Yeah, Nameless just takes an axe and hacks one off. Oh, they cut just fine.
Nevile's going to just do a little controlled cold bolt at one.
Yeah, it freezes, shatters.
Iocus is going to punch the vines.
It mushes appropriately.
Yeah.
So it's not. There's nothing structurally significant about these vines. They are. I suspect they are being controlled by something.
Iocus sniffs a vine.
It does not smell like anything.
Okay, then he munches a vine.
Does not taste like anything.
That is.
And then all of a sudden it just tastes like funky, dirty greenery.
Like, not normal.
Yeah, I mean, it tastes like Iocus has probably had to, on occasion, eat.
Rough it.
Yeah, roughage. It doesn't taste like that. It tastes like wood. If you've ever, accidentally put a piece of wood in your mouth or had sawdust in your mouth.
That has happened.
I mean, listen, I grew up
Yeah, I grew up in a wood shop. Like
Yeah.
that's actually not uncommon.
So, yeah, it tastes like nothing until you start to swallow it down, and then you just get funky aftertaste.
Yeah, this is not normal. I knew there was no doubt, but it's not natural.
Well, you know, geologists lick rocks. Some say it's for good luck.
I told you it was coppery tasting.
No, it tasted.
So what are we doing? Nameless says, do we clear vines or?
We're clearing vines so that Ghost Girl can rest and Miss Thea can cast a spell.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So, you guys get to work clearing vines.
Mostly just trying to keep them away from Thea and Philomena.
Yeah, if any of them go near those two, it's not aggressive in any way. It's more or less, a vine just happened to wander that way. And Philomena can, we'll say one like comes up and starts running over her leg, and she can just push it out of the way, and it.
Buy me dinner first, Slice. You're not a princess. I only do that with princesses.
Make me able to taste things. Yeah, she just kind of like nudges it with her foot, and it moves out of her way. So, Thea, if you would like to go ahead and roll your recovery.
Mina.
Or, I'm sorry, Philomena.
Yeah.
I don't
Her
know.
thing for calling me Thea today.
Your characters all look the same to me. They're just little flesh bags of hit points that I can beat up on.
Except hers is tall and mine's tiny.
So I get 12 more.
Ooh, not bad.
Yay.
Do you not get 4 dice for level 4?
Nope.
No.
No.
Oh,
Nope, you just get a +4.
that's right.
So, since we haven't gone over it yet, here's how you NPC types, your healing surges work. You get the first one for free every day. After that, you get one, and then you have to make a DC 5 save to get another one, and then a DC 6 save, and then a DC 7 save, until eventually you will not be able to make any more.
So if you want to try to make another one to get yourself up to full, you can you just have to roll a 5 or higher on a D20.
Well, she gets
Flowers.
the second one, then she has to roll a 5.
Oh, okay.
So
So
two
you
free
can
ones.
So I can get another one.
Yes.
because you're missing 15 right now. You're 55 out of 70.
Not bad.
That was an 8 or 6.
That is a 6.
Okay. So that's 14
Mm-hmm.
plus
Yeah.
4. So 18. Yeah, so I'm back to full health.
Yay.
Okay, so roll me a d20, and you need a 5 or better.
10.
Okay, so turn that fancy d20 you have in front of you to a 5.
I don't know that I want to do that.
Well,
I don't think you have a choice.
that is in fact a shame.
But at least you get to do it from full hit points.
I mean, that's true. That is true.
It's a shame you had to add 4 to that, because then your health would have been 69, and that would have been nice. Funny number.
So while Philomena is taking a moment to reconstitute her ghostliness,
Her vaporness.
I'm not a vapor.
what is Thea doing?
Thea's going to cast Detect Magic.
Mhm.
So I'm like going to draw a circle and some sigils. Just big enough that Thea can sit in it.
So pretty tiny.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to take up too much of the space here.
Mhm.
But just enough so I can have an open space of air between me and everybody else.
Neville's being
To concentrate.
a little cautious because he knows that hags can be pretty tricky, especially when other spellcasters are involved.
Yeah, Iocus is keeping an eye out.
Yeah, that's what I figured what the rest of you guys were doing.
All right, so Thea, you start working your magics, and what are you examining? Just vines, or
Examining everything? Or just trying to get a general beat on things?
okay? Give me a what are you, a charisma caster?
I think so.
Yeah, give me a
I mean,
good old spellcasting check.
it'd still be a D20 plus 4,
Yeah,
no matter what it is. 18.
18 total.
18 total.
Is that with your level?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have modifiers.
Yeah, that was a 14 plus 4.
Yep. So turn your die up one,
One of us needs to roll low and see what happens.
and
Shut your jinxing mouth.
as you start just examining things around you, you will say one of those vines like creeps into that circle you've drawn, and whenever it crosses that threshold, there is something magical behind it. The thing itself doesn't appear to be magical in any way. There just seems to be something animating it, and then when it leaves the circle, if you look at the same thing, it just appears to be non-magical.
Well,
So the vines themselves don't contain the magic. Then it's just something magic is driving them.
Yes, and when you look over, you're relatively perceptive when you're not nosing a book.
yeah.
So you've seen Iocus's trail that he's following. Those little stab marks into the trees, those are also magical. And you can actually see, we'll say just little glitters of them. So you see the rotten wood, the stab points, and inside those, each of those are just glowing and twinkling. And if you look off in the trees, you can see a trail leading off.
Well, Iocus is right. Something is controlling the vines. The vines themselves are not alive. Also, whatever we're following went that way. And the stab bits into the tree are also magical.
Next stab mark he finds, Neville's going to take some of that sand, just like a little bit, and just see if he can just pocket sand it into one of those holes.
Okay.
Without touching the hole.
Yeah, you take a handful and throw it on there, and Thea, that twinkle goes out.
Neville, you killed it.
Interesting.
Neville will
Did you save any more of that pocket sand?
yeah, I imagine
Yeah,
he
you got a pretty good chunk
one,
of it.
Yeah.
You
And
wanna-
he only took like a couple of he's got tiny little gnome hands. He
Yeah.
can't just take like a
I imagine he picked up a cinder block sized chunk and it crumbled, and then he scooped up a fair bit of that.
probably scooped up as much as he could. He's a believer in pocket sand. He went to the
Don't you say it. Don't.
Do it. Do it.
to his magic tutor in his university days was an elf by the name of Gribble of the Dales.
All right, that's it. Turn in your dice. You're done.
So, Neville, you do have more of that, right?
Why, yes, my pockets are quite laden with it.
Consider maybe throwing that on a hag when we find one.
I was thinking the same thing.
Awesome.
From off in the forest, you hear, "You'll have to catch me first. It appears to be coming from the way that you're going.
Well, at least we know if we run into a hot lady to stab it. Because it's probably the hag.
Nameless says, just here or in general?
Obviously here since there's nothing else besides us.
You
and the
have to
hags.
remember he's kind of socially ostracized.
You can't just go around stabbing hot women. That's what kind of party is this?
I don't know. if you're hot.
Hey, Nameless says, not a very good one. I don't like this.
We are murder hobos.
Let's keep moving, and Neville's gonna follow the trail that
And Iocus are
and
following.
Iocus have pointed out.
Yeah, when they point it out, you can all see it. Nameless draws his bow and just kind of keeps his one hand on the bow and one hand on the axe that he's got at his side.
Nothing else interesting before we get moving.
Not really.
Okay. I will let the circle decharge, whatever,
Mhm.
and scuff it out. You don't leave active circles around. Good magic etiquette.
Oh man, I got news about the Feywild for you.
Yeah. Well, The intention is not to go there with these characters.
Ah, joke's on you. It doesn't exist in this world. Ba-ba-ba-ba.
Oh, thank God.
So you're able to follow, and eventually you start hearing something. Probably about 10 minutes before you can actually see it, you hear water, like a large volume of water moving.
But does it smell like water?
When you get closer, yes. And eventually the trees don't really break, but the river is wide enough. The river is wide enough that you have enough of a clearing you can see from side to side, and it's just this sort of brownish yellow water that's somewhere upstream. There's rapids. You can hear it. It's fairly quickly moving.
Oh, we could ride down the waterfall. That's always fun.
Nameless looks down one way, looks the other way. I have a feeling we would have to float quite a ways.
And who's to say that this isn't one of those rivers that's really, really deep and, will suck people down?
On looking at that, Iocus is going to see, is there a ford or any place that we can cross safely?
You can give me a perception check.
I'll use Nomad on this. I think finding ways to cross water in a desert would be...
In the Hycosian desert, there are actually... the sand runs so deep that it does develop currents.
Mm-hmm.
So
Rivers of sand.
Yeah, you've crossed things like that.
That would be... perception is wisdom, right?
Yes.
16.
16. So Iocus he finds a particularly large piece of wood, like a little sapling tree, and pulls it up. That's about as tall as he is. And you just walk up and down the bank, pushing it down. And you do eventually find a spot that's more shallow than the rest.
Okay.
I just don't want this to be like that one river in England.
Which one?
At the
Full of shit?
the Bone Strip.
Yeah.
Oh.
Where, it's this cute little creek until, you step in and get sucked down, never seen again.
It happens.
He's like, well, Iocus, do you want to
Hold
step
on, let
into
me
the
rewrite
river?
something real quick.
No!
Yeah, so you do find a spot that's not quite as shallow.
Okay.
It's hard to tell any further out from the shore without actually going in.
And I'm
Maybe
sorry.
Nameless can carry the two little ones?
I was going to offer to carry the two little ones. I'm actually taller than Tim.
But it's easier to ride.
His shoulders are pretty
Yeah, I was
broad.
going to say
We're pretty small.
they've ridden on my
I'm
shoulders
pretty sure
already.
we could ride Philomena's shoulders if we tried hard enough.
Yeah, let's not.
Yeah, they would probably go underwater if I went up to my chest.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know that I could swim holding both of them. He holds up a hoof and says, not very good with water.
Centaurs are exceptional at maneuvering through various types of terrain. Water is difficult.
Yeah, you ask me to go up a mountain, and I can probably do it, but getting any traction built up in water is difficult. And Calaise says, actually, during your grandfather's time, there was one tribe that bounded their land. They diverted a river and made effectively a marsh outside their village, so they couldn't be easily snuck up upon. It went horribly for them in the end, though, because they turned it into a rice field, and then when the river dried up because another tribe dammed it up the way, they ran out of food and starved to death.
That kind of sucks.
I mean, free land up for grab.
True.
No.
They were originally smart.
Not bad, but they didn't think to protect their water source.
Yeah.
Calaise takes her staff and dips it in. Well, I suppose
The path is leading across the river, so
That's where we have to go.
pick up the little ones.
Well, hang on to your horns.
So, those of you who are touching the water need to make me a check to maintain your footing. It's going to be dexterity.
Well, shit.
Yeah, don't fail, Iocus.
You're rolling for 3.
Uh,
Don't roll a 3.
I'm going to make a check for Nameless.
Well, on the bright side, I didn't roll a 3.
Let me guess, a 4.
Yes, a 4.
Just a 1 to 1.
And a check for Calaise, which
Oh,
is
wow.
a natural 20.
But on applying a background, that gives me 19.
So what did you roll?
No, it's not a 19. I rolled a 4. That's 12. 15 is what I actually rolled,
So
or like actually amounted to.
I need to start a little tally here. So we've got Philomena. We've got Iocus. We've got
Hold on, no.
Neville,
Yes. It's not initiative
and we've got
because
Thea.
it would be 19. That's why I originally said 19.
We've got Nameless and Calaise. So Iocus,
15.
here's what happens. Go ahead and reset that roll down to your dice down to 3.
Okay.
As you do a thing, you take a step and you get probably about up to your waist when your hoof hits a rock that's half submerged.
Mm-hmm.
And you just hear from the trees this echoing, cackly laugh, and you go face first into the water, which means now Thea and Neville, you need to make me rolls as well to swim, because you are underwater.
What kind? Adding just our level to it, right?
Just your level and any background you think may be appropriate.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that magical, unless there were swimming dragons, I'm not going to be able. Well, there are swimming dragons. Maybe I can apply Draconic Scholar. Like, swim like the yellow dragons. They're lazy.
Hold your breath and float.
Swim like the yellow dragons. Be extinct. Oh. So what did you get, Thea?
Could I use Merchant Family's Scion?
You probably had like actual swimming lessons.
Okay. That's gonna be 10.
10 total.
Ooh.
I rolled a 4.
What is your die at?
A 4.
Okay, so reset that down to 3. And Neville.
21.
Okay. So Neville, you bob down for a second and come up about 10 feet away from Iocus, who is still floundering, looking for you two underwater. Thea, you hit a current and just get yanked downstream. And you eventually bob up, and you are, 1, you have no footing, and 2, you are way far away from your friends.
Oh shit.
Philomena.
I had rolled a 16.
Okay. And what was your number rolled?
9.
9? All right. So you don't have a problem with the water. Mostly you have just made your lower half incorporeal and are able to pass through currents, which you find yourself drifting if you stay in that state for a while, but almost like you're floating on top of the water. But for the most part, if you just kind of selectively, if you go to move and you feel something tugging at your feet, you can just make that incorporeal and pass through it, and then
Can I drift a little towards Thea and maybe give her a hand
she
to
is
kind of pull her?
she is so very far away from you right now.
Okay.
But all of you do see Thea and Neville pop up, both sputtering, and Iocus, you hear them yelling as they come up, so you're not reaching around for them underwater.
I'm gonna.
Neville's gonna climb back on and point over to where Thea is. She's over there.
I'm gonna jump after.
Okay. Give me a good. We're gonna say at this point to fight the current, it's strength.
Yeah. That is 18 without a background. I'll apply slave as a background. The various challenges I had to do in the arena. Maybe one.
Yeah, they probably had a water one.
So that will put it at 20.
Okay. So also Neville and Philomena, raise your dice by 1. I forgot to say. Iocus, you get to Thea, who I imagine is thrashing about in the water,
Yeah, we're trying to grab onto something
Yeah,
to not
trying-
go further.
trying to grab onto something. Nameless and Calaise are going to continue to try and ford the river so that they can run along the bank and catch up with you.
Did that move my die up?
Yes.
Okay.
And, okay. So,
But I did get to her, right? Like,
yeah, you got to her,
Okay.
but she is still floundering.
okay. That's,
Probably have an argument with Sabathiel.
Yeah, Sabathiel, who is just sending you like images of waterlogged books.
Yeah, and trying to like, calm down. How let me go if you leave me alone for 2 seconds. Shut up.
So, Philomena, you, Nameless, and Calaise can make another check to get across.
I can't add the same background though, can
In this instance, yes.
I? Okay, cool. So then that would be an 18.
Okay. What did you roll?
11.
So,
also, if it mattered, I rolled 11 on the die.
okay. So, your die goes up by 1.
I don't like that I have the highest die.
Sucks to suck.
I know. This is
Yeah,
not
how dare
gonna
you
be-
roll well?
Yeah, how dare
This
you
is
roll up?
not gonna.
You get to the other side,
Mm-hmm.
along with Nameless and Calaise. When you look over at Calaise, she's basically taken off down river to catch up. Nameless is sitting there. He goes to throw his bow back over his shoulder, looks down, and just goes, get him off, get him off, get him off, get him off, and just starts like slapping at his chest.
Leeches.
He has these probably hand-sized leeches that are latched onto his stomach and chest. And he grabs one and just like rips it off and starts bleeding profusely.
Dude, can you like stay calm? Cause if we got close to Neville, he could burn him off, and then you won't bleed everywhere.
He is just freaking the F out, man.
Do I have the torch
And when
in my backpack?
you do, but it's probably wet. And
Do you have anything that does cold?
whenever he starts to calm down, and when I say starts to calm down, he's no longer thrashing. He's got his hands, out at his sides, and is just shaking. And he looks at you, and his eyes get wide, and he just points at you.
I'm gonna look down.
You likewise have a couple of them. They are basically in the gaps in your armor.
They're sucking the vapors.
Turn
That's
fully
some
incorporeal
good
and
vapor.
watch him plop.
Yeah, you,
Tastes like Vicks.
yeah. You don't feel it inhale, but when it exhales, just this tiny little ring comes out the other side. Just a little puff of ectoplasm.
So again, let's both stay calm.
Nameless. Get him off.
Okay,
Get 'em off.
okay. How fast can you run? And can I hop on if you're going to go that fast? So that way we can get to Neville and he can light them off.
Okay.
Because I don't want to pull them off. They'll cause you to bleed out.
Sure.
Maybe. Okay. Just stay calm. Do I need to hold your hands so you're not pulling them off? Can you run while holding hands behind you?
No, just hop on.
Okay.
You
So,
hop on
get 'em.
Nameless, and he takes off. Let's see, Neville, you're being held up above the water. Thea, you're still in the water, but Iocus is right by you.
Okay.
So if you would like to either get to him or try to get to the other side, you're about halfway there.
I could get to Iocus because he's probably closer than the other side.
Yeah.
Okay.
So give me a strength check, since Thea's known for her strength.
Yeah, totally.
I think
Okay. I'm gonna add Scion to that again for those swim lessons, and that's gonna be a dirty 20.
Okay.
Put a 14 on the die.
So, Thea, you swim as hard as you can, and just there at the last second, you feel Sabathiel basically press into your back and push you up, and Iocus, you're able to grab her and set her on your shoulder.
Gonna have a panic grip on your horn now.
Yeah, you just have a panicked halfling wrapped around one of your horns.
Like, no, I'm good. I'm calm.
Sorry.
Iocus, you can touch bottom, even out here halfway through the river. The problem is there's just these random currents that will pull your feet out from under you. So if you would like to make one more check to get across.
Yeah, another dex or strength.
We'll say probably strength at this point.
Okay.
All of you are sopping wet.
I'd also like Neville would like to try to
15.
cast some ice magic at some of the just to
It's an 18.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll say by the time Neville thinks
Wait.
about
Hold on. 19, actually.
19?
Yeah.
Okay. So by the time Neville thinks about, also your die goes up by 1,
Just mine.
and your die goes up by 1 as well. As he thinks about casting this ice magic, Iocus just claws his way to the other bank, and
And you hear a screaming
Yeah.
Philomena and
Yeah.
Nameless.
you
A
hear
yelling ghost, yes.
you hear Nameless just screaming, "Get it off! Get it off! Get it off! Get it off! Get it off!" as he's running with Philomena on his back.
Philomena, I hope you asked his permission before you started riding.
I did, yes.
He-
Get him off us.
Yeah, he stops short and basically flings Philomena off and runs up to Neville and goes, "Burn it off, burn it off." And you can see he's got these gigantic leeches on him and just one gaping, bleeding wound. And he goes, "Oh no." And he takes a step back from all of you and he points at Thea. It's like,
Oh, God.
and he points at Iocus, points at Neville. "Why don't you have any?" "Wait, get it off, get it off, get it off, get it off."
Neville will go ahead and slap his hands together and get some low-level fire going and just kind of like, not even scorch the leeches, just make them release on their own if you can. Because they're just leeches. They're just sucking blood, but they're not.
Until you look at mine that are
Yes.
puffing smoke.
They're just being leeches.
Yeah, they're not. You know, they don't. They usually don't kill their victims unless they keep feeding for a really long time.
Yep. So Neville, you're able to burn them off. So Iocus has just a mass of them on his back. Your maximum hit points are decreased by 5 until you get a rest.
Okay.
Philomena, we'll get to. Thea, your maximum hit points are decreased by 3 until you get a rest. Nameless is decreased by 3, and Calaise is decreased by 3 as well. Philomena, when Neville goes to burn those off of you, your maximum hit points are temporarily decreased by 2.
Okay.
And when Neville, you go to scorch them, those 2 just explode you've seen gaseous ectoplasm. It's just this, what they explode into is white slime. and it just goes everywhere. And that's where we'll leave off, is Nameless just holding himself and shaking, and Neville moving from person to person, burning leeches off. From
mine that explode.
from off in the jungle, you just hear.
I was waiting to hear, that sucks.
Somewhere an angry elf is flipping her off.
Yes, yes. But Thea also has holy fire in her hands. And I'm saving it for a hag.
This is not me. Make sure I'm not around her.
Okay,
Next
not
time.
you. Not you at all.
Pocket sand.
Yes, pocket sand. And holy fire.
Yeah, well, there's your episode title: Pocket Sand and Holy Fire.
Ooh,
Yeah,
pocket holy glass.
that's Neville's.
Ooh.
That's Neville's other band. The first one is the Red Hot Hands of Hell. The second one is Pocket Sand and Holy Fire.
It's a shoegaze band because he's so short that he can only really gaze at shoes.
All right, that's all I got. So, you guys got anything?
That's it.
Nope.
Nope. Find us at all the usual places. You know, give us some reviews. Tell your friends.
Smash the like button.
Yeah, you can do that. I haven't checked the numbers on YouTube, so I don't actually know if anybody's viewed that stuff there. Other than that, I'll put all the links in the show notes like usual. So, nobody has anything to plug? Any announcements? Then thanks for listening, guys. We'll see y'all next time.